In this video series, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of a fall photo shoot in Door County, Wisconsin. If you love fall and beautiful quaint towns, then this is the series for you. We'll visit the cutest cottages, a beautiful harbor, a quaint downtown Main Street, incredible lighthouses, and a host of other obscure and amazing places. I hope in this video you feel the magic of fall and the fun of taking photos. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the view. I decided to start at one of my very favorite places. It's a coffee shop nestled in what feels like its own village of cute cottages. It overlooks Fish Creek Harbor, and I come here in the summer early before most of our children wake up. But like many places in the area, it closes when it gets colder, so no bayside coffee for me on this day. One of my core beliefs about photography, and especially doing photography while traveling, is that it should be fun and playful. It's a practice of seeing differently, playing around with the beautiful things you see. As you photograph more and more, the hope is that you begin to play with more elements in each scene before you. And it becomes like a treasure hunt as you look for shapes and interesting light, for shadows and foreground elements. Each new place that I go to is like a playground where I get to pull from this creative toolbox I've cultivated. Door County is a really special place to me. I have quirky memories of being here as a kid that involve goats on rooftops and ping pong balls flying from the sky. It feels like a dream, stepping into a place this beautiful. And years ago, I decided that it was the place that every summer I wanted to take our kids and build sweet memories for them. But because I have 5 kids on our summer visits, I've never really been able to focus on shooting urban landscapes or street photography. So on this trip, because I'm on a solo adventure for a while and I had a little bit of time, I'm going on a hunt to find all of the favorite things that make this place so special to me. Then, later in this trip, I'm meeting with my longtime friend and childhood neighbor, Brooke, who will be driving up with the sister that I never knew as a child, and we only met 6 years ago. But I'll share more on that story later. This harbor is actually a really special place for me photographically. When I came back from college one year, I had gotten the photography buzz. I came up to Door County with my parents, and I had my camera with me in this same harbor. While I walked around and I noticed everything, when I turned and looked, my mom and dad had sat down on a bench. I honestly can't recall if I told them to do this or not, but she placed her head on his shoulder and I took a photo of them. It was the first of many couple shots I would take over the next decade for weddings and other things, but because it was one of my parents, it was of course the most special to me. My dad sadly passed away in 2020, and this picture reminds me of how he was always the rock for my mom. Well, back then I was shooting film. Today I'm shooting with my Fuji camera, but I only brought one lens. I've been really amazed with this tiny lens. It's the Sigma 18 to 50. It's a 2.8 it goes down to. It's on my camera most of the time, and while sometimes I wish for an even smaller pancake style lens, I feel like the range that it offers has so much flexibility, especially when I'm out traveling. I think though, you can be playful with any camera. Here, I love playing with reflections and foreground elements. There was just so much. Guys, isn't this just beautiful? It was at this moment I sent a text to a friend who loaned me this camera while mine is being fixed. Sometimes when I'm swept away by beauty, I have to share it. So I snapped a couple phone pics to send back to her in Texas. In this area, I loved playing around with the reflections on the water, and there were a lot of foreground elements that I got to add to the photos. Sometimes I played around with leading lines. I loved how the lines of the pier just went straight out into the lake. You can easily make a list of all of your favorite elements that you love to play with and then refer to these as you shoot. This was a really fun one where I was playing with leaves from one tree on a bare tree of another. I headed down to the main street, which I absolutely adore. They have this little market, and I just enjoyed watching all of the people walking in. There's this couple that I loved how she had her hair back in the scarf. I remember my grandma doing the same thing, and so this was super endearing for me. And then I loved watching him hold the door open for her as she went in. Oh, I loved watching this lady in her brown outfit. She came out of the market looking for something. I'm not sure what, but I adored this. The day before, they actually had a pumpkin carving contest, so I think this was the results from that. I headed over to Behringer's. This will be the last spot of this video, which used to be a restaurant called Summertime. I ended up chatting with the gardener there, who just had that Midwest nice sweetness to her. I just love being around that. This was the spot when I was little where my parents would come for breakfast. I was a really picky kid, so my parents snapped a photo of me at about age 6 in front, holding a box of Cheerios because apparently I didn't want anything on the menu. While some things never change, this is definitely one that has. Give me that menu. I love eating out now. In the next video, you'll get to see more of the beauty of Door County as I meet up with Brooke and Heather. We go to some iconic spots and then hit up some of the gorgeous lighthouses in the area. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
Well, there's an idea.